Call of Duty Zombie main easter eggs, even most casual players knows about them, yet a good chunk of the player base have never completed a single one. In this series I want to go back and revisit every single main quest, touching briefly on the story and the main design aspects, starting from where they originated from, Call of Duty Black Ops. But before I do, we need to go back and take a quick look at War. We never really saw main easter eggs since it was the very first game where zombies was a feature, so obviously the focus was on crafting the staple gameplay we all know and love today. What's important though is that this is where our beloved characters came to life, Richtofen, Nikolai, Dempsey and Takio, in a Japanese swamps referred to as Shinonuma. This map didn't just introduce the iconic cast, but also started the trend of adding small secrets related to the storyline with radios, the meteor containing the element 115 that created the zombies, and the lesser known but terrifying Richtofen corrupted laugh when interacting with his diary. You could make the argument that Verrückt was the first map to introduce story elements with Dempsey and the other Marines getting into the asylum to save Peter McCain, but as in War the map had no radios or mention of the story, it's easy to assume that it was a bit of retconning.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Anyhow, things would only escalate in quality with the last map from War, the Reese, which not only improved on everything the previous map did in regards to both secrets and gameplay, but also added the infamous fly trap easter egg, which at the time was the closest thing to a main story easter egg.
I want to play a game! Let's play hide and seek!
It was simply just a game of hide and seek with Samantha, but it introduced the players for the first time to the concept of having to complete a side mission. Finally, we can start talking about Black Ops 1, which on launch introduced the players to two brand new maps, Kino der Toten and 5. The latter was obviously a fun map made by reusing campaign assets with a classic zombie spin on it, with teleporters and the terrifying Pentagon Thief. And Kino overall fell short on adding more to the story, but made up with an excellent atmosphere with radios detailing Max's experiments over the creation of the zombies, and the small, terrifying secrets around the map, like the sound of whoever is stuck inside a crate in the dressing room. It wasn't until our characters traveled to Russia on Ascension that we finally got our very first official main story easter egg.
Please, help me. She's coping. The mechanism must be repaired.
Was it just me or did you guys hear a voice?
The map instantly hints at something going on with the cry for help from Gersh over the intercom, and it's completely up to the player to realize what to do to help. Being the very first main quest, it was simple and at part nonsensical. At first you had to collect a generator outside of the map with the Gersh device, a portable black hole. Then all you had to do was activate a terminal, quite literally stand on a platform for 2 minutes until a nuke goes off, collect floating letters with the lunar landers to spell Luna, and in the end overload a glowing light, which is Gersh himself as some kind of spirit form, by shooting at it with a ray gun, thunder gun, Gersh device, pretty much everything in our arsenal. If all is done correctly, Gersh will tank us and escape, traveling across the ether.
Ah, yes! I'm free! I cannot thank you enough for releasing me from that horrible place.
The biggest problem I have is not the illogical steps or how fairly simple it is. As being the very first main easter egg, they were just experimenting with it. But the fact that you need a full team of 4 players to complete it. I know in the footage you're seeing right now I'm doing it alone, but that's thanks to a mod. Normally the only way to do it is by having 3 other teammates who not only need to own the DLC, but also be fairly decent at the game and know the steps themselves. Plus, you can account for the passage of time, less of a problem for PC players but definitely a big one for consoles. In other words, this simple requirement hurt the longevity of this main quest and many other that were forcing you to have a full team. Funny enough, the next map addressed this issue by having 2 separate quests, even if very similar to one another, for solo and co-op players. Call of the Dead did introduce a full-on celebrity cast with Freddy, Buffy, Merle and Machete, but it didn't forget about our main gang, having them stuck behind a locked door in the map, as they teleported there after their adventure on Ascension.
Hey! Is anyone out there? We're stuck in this room!
This main Easter egg gave us some of the funniest quotes from our characters, and most importantly had steps that were much more logical.
Oh, I think I found a lever. Perhaps this will turn on the light.
No! Let go! That's not a lever! Richtofen!
After interacting with the crew, you had to collect a fuse and install it on the door, then shut down 4 generators with explosives, fiddle with some levers on the ship, and the strangest thing of all, turn a zombie into a human with a VR-11 wonder weapon and sacrifice him to a green beam to obtain the golden rod. Once given the rod to the main gang, they happily leave to the next location and reward the celebrities with a Wonderwaff DG2 as a power-up. Nowadays may not be seen as a great reward, but consider at the time the wonder weapon hadn't been seen since Shi no Numa on World at War. Like I mentioned earlier, our main crew teleported from the frozen Antarctica to the forest of the Himalayas, also known as Shangri-La. This main quest is considered by many the best one in the game, and I couldn't agree more. It introduced 2 new characters, Brock and Gary, stuck inside the Mayan temple with a focusing stone, and the steps made more or less sense overall like in Call of the Dead. The one defining feature has to be the beautiful Eclipse mode, our only window to communicate with the duo stuck inside of the temple.
Hello out there! Hello! You're stuck behind some kind of mechanism. Whatever you did moved it slightly. We really could use some help here.
I won't go over every single step for this one as it gets a bit repetitive, but basically our gang has to interact with pressure plates, panels on walls and rotating dials, repair a Mayan device with a crystal, lead a napalm zombie through the map to set fire to some gas leaks, and plug holes with the spike mores, break a snare trap with an explosive. I didn't say every step made sense. If all is done correctly, the crew obtains a TNT charge which they can give to Brock to blow a hole into the temple. Doing so somehow forces the duo to be stuck in a time loop, going back in time and getting trapped in the temple all over again and needing to be rescued by our main characters.
The rock above the altar seems to be suspended in thin air. I'm going to remove it now.
The 4 players requirement came back just for this map, but dropped again under some conditions for the next one. Problem being you cannot fully complete the next main quest without having completed all of the previously mentioned ones. Regardless, our crew obtains the focusing stone and travels to the final destination, Moon. This is the most divisive main Easter egg. On one side you have the amazing ending, on the other the terrible design. Let's start with that and then get to the goods as we go on. As soon as the power is turned on, the gang has to place Simon Says on some terminals, for some reasons. After that, they have to interact with some switches scattered around the lab with a hacker, a special tool which can't be carried together with a PES, or pressurized external suit. It's just a spacesuit. This already is a huge annoyance as some rooms will not be pressurized, yet you'll have to hack something in it to progress the story, every time risking to die. And then the best part comes, waiting for the excavator to bridge Tunnel 6, which is completely randomized. I get it, previous main quest had RNG elements by having to find a wonder weapon from the mystery box, but this main quest takes it to the next level. Oh, you will see it very soon. Anyway, if everything went right and the excavator has done its job in Tunnel 6, a floating sphere will emerge, and by nudging it with a knife and shooting it down from a dish satellite with a wave gun, it'll find its way into the base of the MPD. At this point a cylinder will emerge, and the only way to fill it up is by killing zombies near it and collecting their essence. This is referred as a soul box, and we'll be seeing those a lot in the next installments. Once the cylinder is full, the MPD finally opens, bringing our main crew face to face with Samantha, the one sending zombies against us in all of our travels this whole time. This is only half of the job to complete Richtofen's grand scheme. The gang has to go back to Area 51, collect some panels outside of the map with the Gersh device, similar to what they did in Ascension, then chuck a QED grenade to blast them in a nearby computer. Now, for 2 players or more, these steps may not be a major issue, but as a solo player you can hold only one special grenade at a time. So not only you need to pull both Gersh device and QED from the box, but in this specific order. Plus, did I mention you need to be playing as Richtofen in a game where you cannot select your character? Yeah, if you got this far but you're not playing as the German one, you're automatically screwed as the game will not give you the golden rod to place into the computer. We haven't even gotten to the end of this and I already cannot express how tedious this mission is. Anyway, at this point the characters have to go back to the MPD, charge up the other 3 cylinders with zombie essence, and once it is done, Richtofen will be able to switch bodies with Samantha, taking control of the zombie horde and changing the signature yellow eyes to blue. As it was previously revealed earlier when Richtofen was interacting with the computer, Maxis, Samantha's father, was trying to communicate with us through Simon Says, and he's doing it some more to unveil his plan to stop Richtofen. So, 3 more Simon Says games later, the gang has to jam the sphere out of the pyramid with a QED, lead it to the computer, and then throw a Gersh device at it. If you followed my rant, as a solo player this is the cherry on top, as now they need to pull another Gersh device from the box. Oh boy. At least after all these efforts, we are treated to the best ending we've ever seen, closing this zombie season with a literal bang as we watch the rockets slowly approach Earth and blowing it to smithereens. Call of Duty Zombie was always seen as a cooperative game mode since its early conception, which is why most of these steps don't sound too awful when playing with a friend. But as time has gone by and being part of a yearly series, the chance of finding people to play with are incredibly low. They tested the water early with solo Easter eggs, and I think that at the time was not the popular way to complete them, especially since the community was not as good at the game compared to today. At least me and my friends weren't. It would be even a miracle to reach round 20. Regardless, the ending left everyone shook, and it hinted at what we would see in the next installment, surviving a broken and scorched Earth.